Hello friends, in this video we are going to see how you can connect your laptop to a MSK cluster. So the MSK is nothing but a AWS managed Kafka cluster. So it's a managed cluster. So you don't have to deploy Apache Kafka into AWS. So it is deployed inside a VPC by Amazon AWS. Then you start communicating with it. So as you know, when MSK is launched, we'll launch shortly and I'll take you through the steps. So when it launches, it takes around 10 to 15 minutes just to launch around 3 broker nodes with 10 gig of memory. Apache Kafka installed on it and providing you the hosts and IPs to connect. So what is the problem there? The problem is, it's not exactly a problem, but that's how the mechanism works there. So AWS launches this MSK, which is the Kafka cluster, inside a VPC. Okay. So VPC stands for Virtual Private Cloud. Okay. So because it is private, so only in that VPC, the outer box which you are seeing, in that VPC, whatever computing instances, for example, you have EC2 or you have a Kubernetes pod running, they can connect to the MSK. For example, you can connect from EC2 and you can connect from this pod 1 or pod 2 or pod 3. Okay, that's how you connect. So absolutely there is no problem. But to connect that, you need your private IPs to connect. So you have to pick the private IPs from MSK, then configure in your client where your Apache Kafka client will be running, either a Java client or a Python client, where you have to configure your brokers. They are called bootstrap servers. And usually in the standard, they run in 9098 port. So remember the private IPs and the port, you configure that as your bootstrap server and connect. But what about in your testing environments or development environments where as a integration tester or system tester or performance tester, whatever functional, non-functional tester, manual or automation, you have to do some experiments. You want to connect from this cluster to your laptop. That connectivity is not there currently. So to do that, that's what we'll see in the upcoming video, how we can configure MSK to expose their services or the IPs outside of the VPC to the internet. Then you create a IAM role. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management role, and attach that to the laptop or configure your laptop to assume that role, then connect to MSK. Okay, so that's pretty much we want to do in order to test the data flows to and from MSK. So let's say you want to produce some data to the MSK and another consumer somewhere will be sitting here, for example consumer and the laptop or same laptop, and you want to consume from the MSK. You need all those mechanisms to do this. That's what we'll cover in this video. To launch a MSK cluster, you have to type here MSK. For example, you go here, or if you have recently launched, you can type here as well. Let's go from the beginning. So MSK cluster configuration here, MSK cluster. Click that and press create cluster here or create cluster here. Quick create. we'll go for the default, and we'll not go for this serverless. We'll go for the provisioned one, which will give you the static IPs, the private IPs as well as the public IPs. And you can mention, see here, number of brokers, amount of storage, so you can customize it when you provision it. So click that, and it automatically chooses the latest Apache Kafka version. Okay, by the way, this MSK stands for Managed Service for Apache Kafka. AWS Managed Service for Apache Kafka. That's what MSK stands for. Then you go for Express Brokers. Don't change that. See here it says 8 GB of memory, 8 GB. That's the standard they're using. This is network bandwidth and 2 CPUs. Okay. So these are pretty expensive if you're doing for your personal experiments. So you can say if you run for a couple of days, let's say 3 to 4 days, it will cost you around 150 US dollars. There is another video. You can search in this channel, look for MSK costs and billing. You can find that. So this is the latest thing, 3.8.x Apache Kafka. Then that's default, so make sure you choose the provisioned one as I showed you. Then create cluster. Once you press create cluster, it takes around 10 to 15 minutes to provision it, setting up. Okay, that's it. Once you finish that, you will see your cluster is up and running. Then we'll see how to connect to laptop as the next step. Now we have created the MSK cluster. By this time it has taken almost 10 to 15 minutes. Now let's see what all things it has got for us. And if you go to view client information, that is where you see the private IPs and public IPs. You see the private endpoints here. It's using a single VPC, and you see the port is listening is 9098. So there will be 3 instances, so 3 9098. You see here 1 2 3. But you can reach this via your Java or Python client if your pod or a EC2 instance or a computing instance is in this VPC. Only then you should use these endpoints. Otherwise, if you're using laptop, you should use the public instances. But that's a different service name here. You see different host name, and the port is 9198. 1 2 and 3 host names here. Okay, and that's pretty much to pick for your brokers, which is called bootstrap servers. Okay, going to properties, and this is where your subnets are there, and this is your security groups applied. And the public access here, initially it will be off, so you have to go and edit that and make it on and save changes. That takes around 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, only then you can access from your laptop or any machine outside of the VPC. And that's not enough. I'll show you how you will enable your laptop to access. Is pretty much same way a computer or a computing instance will access from the VPC. So the public host which you saw now, that is accessible from internet, and the private host which you saw 9098, that is accessible inside the VPC. Okay, and now go to security settings here, and don't click here. So go to edit cluster policy, and here you see actions. Here you have to provide all those actions which needs. So for example, all these actions you will get in one of the Amazon docs. So basically you should be able to connect, that is Kafka cluster, and the last one is just Kafka. So you should be able to connect, describe topic, create topic, write data. If you don't want to write, you can remove this, but for our experiment we need this. For any project you have to write data and read data. If you are just exposing a topic only for read, then do not give this, remove this. Okay, read data, alter topic, describe group, alter group, and delete topic. So programmatically you want to create the topics, so you should have all these permissions. Okay, only then it works. Then I'll show you how you will get the ARN. So all these things you should be able to put it and save it. Okay, now once that is there, you go to your IAM user and provide one of the user the full access. Let's say this is me. Me means just any user you can create here. ABCD underscore user you can create. Then go inside that, and here search for MSK full access. Oh, it's not showing. Here it will show. Add permissions. Attach policy directly here, and here type MSK full access here, and next, and you'll be able to attach that policy to that user. Okay, once you get that, you will see that MSK full access listed here, and copy this ARN here. This is your account ID and this is your user ID. You just copy it and paste it to that AWS thing, which I think it pre-populates. If it is not there, you just paste it there. Okay, because it's a new cluster. Mine is I'm showing you old cluster, so everything is populated, and because I have tested my connectivity here. Look at this here. So I have done a produce message here produce, and a consume message here. Look at this, I have consumed message, hello from Python, hello from Java. Okay, so everything pretty much works as expected, Python as well as Java. Okay, this is the Java client, this consumer, and it prints here received. Okay, this is what prints here, received. And Python client also, I'll show you, that's a separate part. I think I have already shown you.